from the heart of Ball State University. Live from the Unified Media Newsroom, NewsLink Indiana Midday starts right now.
Good afternoon and welcome to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Joel Riley. The Student Government Association held its first debate of the 2020 election cycle Thursday afternoon. NewsLink Indiana's Tyler Brummett tells us what the slates are talking about. Tyler?
Yeah, hey there, Joel. The candidates talked about a lot in yesterday's debate. One of the big topics that was discussed was that controversial zero-tolerance Greek life bill, as well as issues on campus involving race. Thursday afternoon, in front of cameras, the current SGA administration, and about 20 students, the three slates in this election cycle tackled some hot topics.
If you look around the room, I count about 24 people. That should be shameful.
But those who were there heard from Alliance, Bold, and Orem. A focal point for the slates was this viral video from last month involving police, a professor, and a student.
I think it's really important for, underrepresented students and marginalized students to be connected to professional resources.
There was not just white males this year. There's a lot of people, different colors of the rainbow.
I know what it's like to feel marginalized as well, so we need to make sure that we take this in a holistic view.
The slates also talked about a controversial bill that passed under the current SGA administration. That bill is a zero-tolerance policy on Greek life organizations in situations where sexual assaults are reported.
The conversation was made to be either you support sexual assault survivors or you support Greek life.
I've had several residents and several of my coworkers come to me furious about the bill.
We initially favored this legislation because we are passionate about combating sexual assault incidents and hazing incidents both on and off campus.
And while Alliance, Bold, and Orem are getting the ball rolling on their campaigns, they just hope their points are heard loud and clear.
I plan to continue the growth of Ball State and to continue to do so in a way that is representative of the entire student body.
Orem is the only slate that has the necessary experience.
I want to make sure that we are pushing forth this image and that our values are being seen by the students before they see kind of the points.
And as we mentioned, yesterday's debate was the first of three. Let's take a look now at that debate schedule. The next one will be the presidential and vice presidential debate Monday night at 7. And the third and final debate will be in less than 1 week, next Thursday at 7, all leading up to voting on the 17th and 18th. Of course, NewsLink Indiana, we're covering it now at the beginning. And we will continue to keep you updated throughout the whole election cycle. But that's all for now here in the newsroom. Tyler Brummett, NewsLink Indiana. Joel, we'll go ahead and send it back to you.
All right, Tyler, thank you so much. 7 Democratic presidential candidates are set to face off in a high-stakes debate as we await news from Iowa on who really won. It comes ahead of New Hampshire's first-in-the-nation primary and days after the Iowa caucuses ended in chaos and confusion that still hasn't been sorted out. CNN's Leila Santiago reports.
The chaos in Iowa continues with still no definitive winner from Monday night's caucuses. With only 4 days to go before the New Hampshire primary, Pete Buttigieg maintains a razor-thin lead over Bernie Sanders.
The Iowa Democratic Party just released the final batch of results from the caucuses. 100% of precincts reporting. You are holding a narrow lead of 1/10 of a percentage point over Senator Sanders.
Well, it's fantastic news to hear that we won. First of all, I want to say Senator Sanders clearly had a great night, too, and I congratulate him and his supporters.
Sanders, hours earlier, claiming victory after results show he won the popular vote in the state, a new statistic he lobbied the DNC to make public at this year's Iowa caucuses.
Well, from where I come from, Ryan, when you get 6,000 more votes than your opponents, on the first ballot, you win. When you get 2,500 more votes than your next closest competitor, on the second ballot, you win. So, yeah, I think it's fair to say we won.
DNC Chairman Tom Perez tweeting out his frustration, writing, "Enough is enough."
What happened in Iowa was unacceptable.
Initially calling for a statewide recanvass, but amending his demand to instead focus solely on precincts with reported problems.
I want to make sure that every Iowa voter knows that their vote was counted, and I want to make sure every voter across this country knows that their vote was counted and that we take our commitment to accuracy very seriously.
A CNN analysis revealed some errors in the official count reported by the Iowa Democratic Party. Multiple counties reported a different number of state delegate equivalents than they were supposed to have, and some counties even awarding more state delegate equivalents than they were allotted. The chair of the Iowa Democratic Party has said the party is willing to recount if it is formally requested by a candidate by 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Sanders insisting he is ready to move on and forge ahead to New Hampshire, where he holds a 4-point lead over Buttigieg in a new Monmouth poll.
We've got enough of Iowa. I think we should move on to New Hampshire. It is really sad that the Democratic Party of Iowa, if I may say so, screwed up the counting process quite so badly.
Joe Biden had a poor showing in Iowa. The latest poll in New Hampshire puts Biden in third place ahead of Elizabeth Warren. The Washington Post reports that he left New Hampshire and spent Thursday in Delaware prepping for the next debate and reevaluating his campaign strategy. And a Royal Caribbean ship with a dozen quarantined passengers has docked in a city just south of New York. The Anthem of the Seas docked Friday morning amid concern that there are 12 Chinese nationals aboard who may have the coronavirus. They started exhibiting symptoms aboard the ship while it was cruising in the Caribbean. The Centers for Disease Control will test the quarantined passengers. An official with the CDC told CNN that other passengers will also be assessed. Royal Caribbean said in a statement, quote, "We are participating in elevated levels of guest screening to check the spread of the coronavirus," end quote. New passengers are expected to board the Anthem of the Seas later this Friday. The cruise line tweeted it would be conducting enhanced sanitation in the cruise terminal and on board. High water levels are causing problems in the Great Lakes. The 5 inland seas are flooding during the region's wettest season in more than a century, which scientists say is likely connected to the warming climate. Forecasters expect water levels to remain high well into 2020. Homes and businesses are already experiencing damage, and local residents are attempting to prepare for even more flooding. Less than a decade ago, the Great Lakes had the opposite problem. Levels were at record lows. Experts say that these abrupt swings may continue as global warming brings more extreme storms and droughts. And finally, during the summertime, motorcycles roar across the roads of America. However, this is not exactly the case during the winter. NewsLink Indiana's Davis Wynn reports on how one business manages during the off-season.
Take a look at these posters. They give the stereotypical image of a Harley-Davidson cruising in the summer. However, the roads of Muncie are probably not going to see a motorcycle during the freezing weather. Benson Motorcycles sometimes feels more like a ghost town than anything during this time. General Manager Jason Schultz explains that this is definitely the slowest time of the year for business.
As far as the motorcycle riders, this is definitely the slowest time of the year for them.
Despite the slump in motorcycle sales currently, he remains optimistic about getting models out of the door, from longtime loyal friends to the newest of newcomers.
We're not selling as many motorcycles, so we're trying to cut deals to get them out the door. We give better money for trade right now.
Even during the slower months, the business plans this aspect out. Owner Phil Benson, who has almost 30 years of experience, explains that this is just a normal part of the calendar year.
You know, you ride the wave as long as you can ride the wave, because at some point it's going to be a rainy day. And when it does, that wave goes away. And that is so true in retail, whether you're selling a motorcycle, whether you're selling a washer and dryer, things change. And so we did a lot of different sales things trying to come up to make the wave go.
The dealership will continue to push through with their winter events and specials, giving the riding community plenty of involvement during the off-season. However, for all of these motorcycles, they will more than likely have to wait until springtime to find their new rider.
Regardless of the weather, February again can be decent or it can be really bad, but even if the weather stays bad, we have a real uptick in February.
In Muncie, Davis Wynn, NewsLink, Indiana.
All right, today's a cool day for a ride. Now here's a look at your NewsLink Indiana forecast. These are the conditions right now. It is currently 30 degrees under partly sunny skies. Today will be pretty quiet. We'll see sun and clouds. The high will top out in the mid-30s before more snow moves in tonight. And now let's look at the 7-day forecast. Things are going to warm back up a bit. Rain and snow are possible on Sunday, and highs will be back in the upper 30s and 40s. And that's going to do it for us this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Joel Riley. Be sure to tune in to NewsLink Indiana tonight at 6:57 on WYPB TV. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy your weekend.